هاي
هاي.
سارة، شو صار؟
هاي. ما أدري.
شو؟
غيرت الإنترنت، إن شاء الله هالمرة ما يرجع مرة ثانية.
Amazing.
أوكي.
We just started, so it's fine.
Yeah. Okay, I'm just
Welcome
writing
back.
the... Okay, let's go. Yeah. So you were talking about the silence when احنا عايشين في عالم في white noise.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you for starting on that context with that framework, because the silent is the secret to going into this universe of the soul. The silence, which is really just removing the distraction and the sound, is one of those bridges. So you're already tapping into that. And that's why you asked for this call, aslan, because it's like you're tapping into the mystery through the silence. And what the silence gives, then it's like rainbows and riches and so many answers and truths. But first, all these distractions from the matrix, which we'll talk about today, need to be put aside. And if we're in automatic, which is how most people are operating, we become unconscious that all of this is being bombarded in our reality. And if you like, we can start with what this matrix means, Aslan, because matrix, it's not a bad thing. It's not an insult. Matrix, it's been used in many different times. There's a film, Matrix, it made it popular. But really, matrix is just about programming. When I say something is a matrix, it's like there's a specific level of programming. But the matrix we're living in as a mass society now on planet Earth has been programmed with very low frequencies that are not connected to our soul. So there could be a soul matrix. We could create a soul matrix, but it's almost like the word matrix itself has been so skewed, we probably don't want to use that. But removing the emotional charge from matrix, it just means programming. But what people are waking up to is that the programming we have been induced with, almost like an enchantment, has made us forget who we really are, which is human soul, right? So this programming is all about constantly being bombarded, like you said, with sounds. Sound is vibration. Sound is energy. Everything is energy. So if you're constantly being bombarded with sound, you're constantly being bombarded with this frequency, with this matrix frequency, which is what we call the matrix programming, that is not serving for evolution. And the reason the matrix now is going full on because so many people are waking up on this planet. And so the programming is going more and more intense. And that's why this call and all the other people having calls on this topic are the most important thing, because people are waking up and now they need guidance. So what did I wake up from, right? It's that, you know, when you're in a hypnosis and you're like, ooh, you're like enchanted in that world, distractions, iPhone, lights, cars, this, that. And what the matrix has programmed us with is an outside-in reality. It's this construction of life based on everything coming from the outside, our value from the outside, our job from the outside, our creativity from the outside, our relationships from the outside. Everything is about what it looks like on the outside and how I can get it outside of me. Sucked away our core power, our core essence, our core truth, which is that everything we want, all the answers, all the riches, all the creativity, all the power, everything, anything you can imagine you want, it's a frequency within ourselves. Of course, they don't want us to do that, because if we do that, we stop buying their shit, excuse the language, we stop believing their lies, we stop being slaves in the system. And the only way a system can make us obedient is by making us buy the lies. So we've bought the lies of this specific programming of the collective matrix that now people are plugging out of, but that's why now they're coming with meta reality. That's why now it's like, okay, no guys, you cannot be plugging out like that. Let's introduce you to something even more amazing. Online shopping, online malls. And part of the human ego goes, I want, I'm missing, I'm not enough. I'll go plug in and get the things I want virtually. But the real human soul, where does it live? It lives inside the body. Inside the body. So this meta and virtual reality and the matrix that we're talking about, that's this really horrendous programming. It's all about unplugging us from the body. When you sit in silence, you start to feel your body. And the messages that come from your soul, straight from source, where do they show up? In the body, in the heart, in the cells, in your hands, in your feelings, inside you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. Yeah. So basically اللي قالته توا مديحة عن الماتريكس. أول شيء الماتريكس أنا ما أعرف لها ترجمة عربية، فخلونا نحتفظ بهذه الكلمة. الفكرة إن الماتريكس بحد ذاته ما يعتبر شيء سلبي، وهو بيعتبر نظام العقل، طريقة عمل العقل إنه هو يتبرمج. أي نظام فيه برمجات أنت يعني أنت تصدقها تعتبر ماتريكس أنت داخل فيها. فما في شيء اسمه ماتريكس إيجابي أو ماتريكس سلبي، هي شنو الفكرة اللي أنت شريتها وأنت عايش على أساسها. اللي صاير إن وهذا الشيء أنا قريته ليتلي في كتاب حق اسمه الرجوع إلى الحب، وحق فيلسوف روسي I think اسمه فلاديمير، ويتكلم فيها عن هذه الفكرة. وكان يقول إن صار في القرن السادس عشر بالذات لما بدأت الثورة الصناعية، منظومة صح ثانك يو، لا منظومة أو مصفوفة ثانك يو. فاللي صار إن لما طلعت الثورة الصناعية بدأ يصير فيه مثل فصل للإنسان، فصل عقله عن روحه. فصار الإنسان يعتقد أكثر أنه هو عقل، أو أنه صار يعتمد على العقل أكثر ويكره النقيض. باختصار صار فيه هدم حق نظام الدواليتي، أو النظام أن كل شيء موجود منه اثنين وهو يتحرك بشكل لا نهائي مع بعض متحدين، وصار في لا في دائرة وفي دائرة، مو كيفك تختار الدائرتين. you go to one of them، تختار واحدة فيهم وتعيشها. فأنت إما ذكر إما أنثى، ما يصير تكون اثنينهم. أنت إما عقل إما إحساس، ما تكون اثنينهم. أنت إما ظلام إما نور، ما يصير تكون اثنينهم. ومن بدأت هذه الرحلة الإنسان بدأ يدخل في هذا، أو يغرق بالأصح في هذا النظام الماتريكس، وصار في مثل انفصال بين في عند الإنسان، انفصل عن فكرة الروح، انفصل مو فكرة الروح حتى، عنده فكرة عن الروح، هو انفصل عن الروح نفسها، عن الحقيقة نفسها، لأنه صار عنده فكرة عن الروح. ف اللي صار الحين ان احنا الحين قاعد نعيش فتره، اختمت مديحه بهذه النقطه، ان احنا قاعد نعيش بفتره الثوره الصناعيه والتكنولوجيه في اعلى يعني مراحلها، لان الانسان بدا ينتبه حق البرمجات اللي هو خلينا نقول يعني ورثها، صارت موروثات وعايشها بدون وعي. يعني هو ما كان عارف انه هو فعلا عايش داخل مصفوفه او منظومه، هو بطريقة أو بأخرى قاعد يختارها كل يوم، مع أنه هو مو مجبور عليها ويظن أنه هو مجبور عليها. منها وقاعد ترد عن طريق يعني الاندماج في رياليتي أو واقع متعلق مثلا بالتكنولوجيا، بالتسوق الأونلاين، بالسوشيال ميديا، بالأجهزة. طبعا هي في منها فايدة احنا الحين قاعد نستخدمها for our matrix، بس الفكرة إن هي الحين قاعد تصير في أكثر أو بهذه الكثافة وبهذا الإبداع وبهذه العبقرية. لأن ترى في فكرة مديحة قالها الكاتب، إن لما شفتي شلون الإنسان لما تقطع يعني تنقطع عنده إيد أو يفقد واحدة من إيدينا، مثلا يفقد إيده اليسار، تصير القوة كلها بإيده اليمين. جسديا فطريا هذا اللي يصير. نفس الفكرة تصير يقول لما الإنسان يقطعوا عنه أو فصلوا بين الأنثى والذكر اللي فيه، ولما الرجل يفصلون الأنثى عنه إن أنت رجل فأنت لازم فقط تكون رجل، فقط تكون ذكر، فقط تكون ماسكلين. تصير القوة مالته كلها بالمنطق عشان يعوض نقص الفمنن اللي عنده، يروح حق النقيض أو يروح حق الشيء اللي هو العوض الوحيد الموجود ويغرق فيه. ونفس الفكرة صارت الحين لما الإنسان بدأ يستوعب إن I think يعني الإنسان بدأ شوية يميل حق عالم الروح، وبدأ يفتح على الحقيقة، لأن the universe said that. صار في النقيض الثاني، صار في أشد حالاته maybe وmaybe فعلا يعني تسوي علشان يرد يرجع العقل. في فكرة قالها أستاذ إيهاب في كتابه كن أنت، قال إن رأس مال هذه المنظومة هو خوف الإنسان وشعوره بالعار. فكان you talk to us عن شنو أكثر شعور شعروا الناس وخلاهم ينفصلون بهذا الشكل عن الروح، وخلاهم this deep into the matrix, the negative matrix.
Sure. I can continue from where we left, which is the body, coming back to the body, which for me, when did I start to wake up? When I started to come back to my body. I went for training in Bali, started to bring my soul back to my body, and then everything like catalyzed. But what the Matrix has done, knowing that humans were attached to matter, to the body, we are human beings, and part of our humanity is the human part, which is the body, There's the divine human, which is the one we're evolving into. But what they've done is to make us believe things are only matter, they're only body. Like when I touch a book and it's a piece of matter. Versus when the soul inhabits the body. So when there is soul in things, when there is values in the things we create, when there is essence, spirit, songs, colors, that's when the thing becomes infused with life. They say God breathed life into the stone, into the matter. It's this breathing life into the matter that makes us the divine human, which is what the 5D and the soul verse is about, versus the matrix where it's stuck on the matter. So when you're stuck in the matter and you forget what the soul verse is, you forget how free you are. You forget how rich you are. You forget how powerful you are. You forget all the true essences that you feel when you look at a rainbow or at something beautiful, or you're jumping through the sky and you feel limitless, which is the essence of our soul. So we want to bring that essence into the body. Versus what the matrix has done, and سؤالك عن ايش المشاعر اللي بنحسها بس نكون plugged into the matrix. الإحساس دائما I'm not enough. الإحساس دائما أنا مسجون. الإحساس دائما أنا ما بعرف. مش دائما نسمع especially women, they're really conditioned to say أنا ما بعرف. بس جواتها بتكون بالضبط تعرف إيش بدها وإمتى بدها وين بدها وليش وإيه. بس أنا ما بعرف. When you put the essence in the matter, there's the inner wisdom. الصوت خلص بيصحي. ببطل في بعرف ما بعرف. بيصير في deep clarity of intuition and connection with the soul. So by removing the soul from matter, خلونا نحس as if احنا بس جسد زي لحمة ما فيها طاقة، ما فيها صوت الوعي، ما فيها قوة، ما فيها wisdom، ما فيها رقي، ما فيها all these divine qualities. So the moment we start to tune in with what these divine qualities are, بنصير ننادي الروح back to the body. And a lot of us, what happens in our lives, it's lots of traumas. عشان الروح هي كيف بتفوت بالبيبي بيكون شاعل وبيضحك وكله ألوان this is the soul عم تحكي through the body. بس شوي بيصير في أشياء traumas، وهن trauma مش بس يعني حرب، trauma يعني حدا حكى لك تسكتي وبطلتي to express yourself، حدا حكى لك ما ترقصي بطلتي تعبري عن حالك. So these traumas بيصيروا to block the flow of your soul into your body. فبيصير في انفصال، وزي ما انت حكيتي انفصال بين الفيمينين والماسكلين، بس هي انفصال on so many levels. Where now the process that we are going through when we awaken, it's calling our soul back into the body, rooting on this planet. بطل awakening انه انا اروح على other planets او meditate وبس احس السايلنس وما اعرف ولا شيء. No, I create the silence so I can call my soul back and create. Because right now we need a lot of creators. بنعوز ناس عم بيبنوا their life, عم بيبنوا their communities, عم بيبنوا a new healthcare system, عم بيبنوا a new educational system. We need builders. We don't just need people that يروحوا to meditate on top of mountains. Go meditate. We love to meditate. هلا Ihab's birthday, we're gonna go in silence for 3 days. But that's not what we do all day. We meditate in the morning, we do our yoga practice, and we start creating. We get on, because now the planet needs us to get on and create. But how do we create? بنصير ننادي these lost soul parts that we lost on the way through all the traumas, because when the soul cannot be in the body through the traumas of pain and grief and sadness and all of these separations, the soul leaves the body. بنصير ضايعين. And that's what we see around us when people are so disconnected from their souls, because the traumas of this human existence, of the values our society has put on us, of the education system, of the parenting system. But that's why this is big business. We're talking, come, wake up and start really connecting where you're passionate with your purpose. And that's why soul purpose is a big part of this evolution. We want silence, we want meditation, we also want to create from deep inside our soul. And your soul purpose is finding your role in the community. We need doctors, we need nurses, we need nutritionists, we need caretakers, we need all of that, but from a higher frequency. Yeah. So the 5D universe is a whole society, a whole utopia. That's why we created Utopia community here in Amman. That people start to tune in with their sacred purpose. إيش الرول تبعهم, which comes from their deepest passion, their deepest joy, their deepest turn on. You know when you're turned on, like so in love with life. All these frequencies of beauty and freedom and creativity, that's the 5D, that's the soul verse. And the matrix takes us away from all of that. It makes us feel we're not enough. It makes us feel like we're inside a prison, in our bodies, in our homes. Even as in the طلع بيوتنا. These houses are so matrixy because matrix that we were talking about, again, because now we have clarity what matrix mean, they're boxes, they're angular, they're not spiritual homes, they don't bring soul essence into the home. In Bali all the homes are open into nature، ما في حيطان، انت بتقعدي والبيت فاتح على الجنينة وعلى البركة، فما في separation بين انت والطبيعة. وايفنشولي الطبيعة بتقدر تعلمنا how to go back to that rhythm with the earth, which is the rhythm with soul. The soul is very connected with nature because your true nature is your soul.
Yeah.
So it's like this puzzle اللي عم نركبها مع بعض، وأهم شيء إنه كل واحد له دور بهذا البازل. كل واحد هون له دور يصحيه جواته ويلعب دوره بالمجتمع ال 5D الجديد اللي عم نخلقه. So this is a big thing we're doing together, and it's important that we're here and talking about this today.
I believe that too. So اللي راح أقول باختصار في فكرة قالتها مديحة إن واحدة من النتائج الرئيسية اللي صارت حق إن إحنا صرنا داخل المنظومة الفكرية اللي تعتمد فقط على العقل، خلنا نقول الميتركس اللي فقط اللي يتعلم يعتمد على المنطق والتحليل والسبب والنتيجة والماديات، only materialistic things. إن في أكثر فكرة يبيعها هذه المنظومة هي فكرة إن أنت مو كافي، أنت غير كافي. وطالما الإنسان يشعر إنه غير كافي يصير عنده مثل الفراغ اللي يحاول دائما إنه هو يعبيه ويملأه، ووجود هذا الفراغ يخلي الإنسان ما يقدر يوصل حق مرحلة إنه يرتقي ويعيش حياة الإنسان خلونا نقول الإنسان الأرقى أو الإنسان الأعلى، لأن الإنسان مش كلنا عايشين في نفس المرحلة وفي نفس الواقع وفي نفس النظرة للحياة وفي نفس خلونا نقول المكان. You might think يعني تعتقدون إن إحنا كلنا عايشين في نفس المكان بس we're not. فعليا yeah. فعلشان أنت اللي يصير إن شعور أنت غير كافي يطلعك من هذا المكان العالي، من هذا المكان اللي يحس بالحقيقة بالأسنس الحقيقي بالجوهر الحقيقي للإنسان، ويخليك
which is just to add to that, which is that you're complete, you're whole. بس نقدر نفهمها with our mind. Okay, I'm whole, but how can I experience my wholeness? That should be the question I wake up to every morning. How can I experience more of my wholeness?
Wow, I loved it. ترين أحب طريقة الأسئلة، لأن أنا فهمت إن هذه الأسئلة هي اللي كأنها تصنع مثل شنو يسمونه سنديب أحداث عشان تجاوب على السؤال. يعني every awakening I had بدأ من سؤال.
Because when you go in your awakening process, Sarah, it becomes like a quest. What they try to sell you in this matrixy reality is security. They give you the answers. زي بالمدرسة إيش 2 + 2 4 إيش العاصمة of هذا البلد okay, so it's all about answers, versus when you awaken into the mystery of life, into البهجة, like the awe, the wonder, the mystery, the adventure, you become a heroine or a hero on a quest. And on a quest, every page you're asking new answers. Where is this? Where is the forest? Where is the mountain I need to climb? So you become this character in an incredible magical story. And the thing, like you said, زي ما حكيتي اللي يحركنا من step لstep بالقصة هي الأسئلة اللي عم نسألها. ودائما when I'm coaching people بصير أذكرهم الأسئلة اللي عم بيسألوا حالهم، الأسئلة اللي عم نسألها لحالنا عم تاخذنا in one direction. فليش هيك عم بيصير فيي؟ إيش هاي؟ It's a very victim question. Versus what is the thing I am being initiated into بهاي situation? Suddenly the whole reality is a different reality. I'm a heroine on my quest. I'm being given مثلا to show me where I'm voiceless so I can speak up, so I can have more courage, so I can activate the divine qualities. Because if they were already activated, there would be no fun, there would be no quest, there would be no adventure of life. And for me, one of my top values in life, it's adventure. Like I love to discover, I love to go ask the questions and be the heroine in my own story. And So the questions are really what makes you the lead character in the story. You are asking the question. Imagine an education system based on that. Imagine كنتي بالمدرسة والمس بدل ما تسألك سؤال وانتي تجاوبي تسألك ايش الأسئلة اللي بتقدري تسأليها عن هاي المادة. أنا كانوا دائما يصرخوا علي عشان أسأل كتير أسئلة ما بصير واحد يسأل. بس that's the reverse. Everything is upside down in the matrix. It's like الإشي لازم يكون فوق هو تحت والإشي اللي تحت لازم يكون فوق. Teach them to ask the questions because that's how we will open new pages to this story that we are telling together.
Amazing. Okay, so اللي كنا نقول إن أكثر شعور اللي هو أنا غير كافي واللي المفروض العكس عنه هو أن أنا كامل بشكل أو بآخر. يمكن الايدنتيفيكيشن اللي أنا أعيشه غير كافي أو الهوية اللي أنا خذيتها وشريتها وحطيتها لنفسي عشان أحمي نفسي غير كافية، لكن أنت كإنسان أنت كامل بكل يعني حرفيا. اللي
Beyond, you're a superhero. You're a heroine. You are needed now. هلا انولدتي علشان to activate a very core mission, including you, Sarah. You have a big mission.
And I love it.
Yeah.
And it was the drive. دائما وأبدا it's the drive. You know مديحة قبل كم يوم أختي الصغيرة سألتني سؤال، قالت لي إذا عرفتي إن أنت بعد يعني باقي لك يعني on earth أسبوع واحد what would you do؟
I love that question.
I know, amazing. فالإجابات كانت كلها حواليني، اللي يقول يعني إن أنا بس راح أقعد بمكاني، اللي كان يقول إن أنا راح مثلا أسوي أعمال خير، وكانت الإجابة اللي I didn't expect إن أنا راح أقولها كانت إن أنا راح أوقف أسوي أي شيء ثاني غير إن أنا راح أحاول كثر ما أقدر أسجل محاضرات، أكتب كل شيء أعرفه.
أنتي زي إيهاب. أنا I'm like peace out, I need to go sing.
Even my friend قال لي بقعد أتأمل، بس أنا إن بتأمل I want to die before I die. هذه كانت إجابة my friend. أنا كانت إجابتي إن بكتب كل شيء أعرفه بسرعة، أبي أروح أسجل كل شيء أعرفه، أبي أسوي فيديوهات وكلام وتسجيلات وكذي وأخليهم كلهم حواليني وبعدين يلا مع السلامة. That's a
strong sense of purpose and being a messenger. Like you have a lot that wants to come through you. I feel I'm here to enjoy life. That's my purpose. I'm here to enjoy life. That's my purpose. And the more I can enjoy, the more I can be in pleasure, the more I can take that frequency and share it.
You do. You do. You have a huge impression حاليا يعني.
Thank the
والله والله لما قاعد معك I really feel the joy. Yeah. إنزين. فالرد مرة ثانية. فاللي كنا نقوله إن حتى في مثال قاله همن إيهاب في كتابه كن أنت، همن قال إنك لما يقنع تم إقناع الإنسان إن أنت غير كافي كأنك تقنع طير إن جناحه غير كافي عشان يطير. إذا صدق هذه الفكرة وقاعد بمكانه it's not the truth. هو يقدر كامل ما فيه، يقدر يسوي اللي يبي، بس لما نقتنع بالفكرة خلاص ما يقدر يطير، ما راح يطير. راح إذا قالوا لنا لازم extra think تعال نعطيك إياها نبيعك إياها تقدر. Oh my god. anyway إنزين الحين I want to ask you a question. شلون أنت you kept saying to bring the soul into the body، وأنا قريتها بأكثر من طريقة. يعني في مثلا في فكر ديباك تشوبرا يقولها إن to invite the body into the being، إن you are الbeing اللي هو الjourney from the soul to the يعني from here to the soul. So كأن أنت already you are a soul, you are the being، بس the body is disconnected. once you're awaken you are the being. تعال invite the body again. وبعدين أسمعها بفكر الأغلب البقية مثل أوشو إن لا you bring the soul into the body and you'll be present in the moment. هل في difference بينهم أنا ما قاعد أفهمها ولا هي الفكرة إن what do I have to do? Do I have to be present in the body ولا do I have to be يعني to be all the time in the يعني أستشعر السايلنس، أستشعر إن I'm the being, I'm knowing I'm the being، بس still I invite my body with me. What am I doing?
I feel this question is coming very deeply from your brain, from your mind. It's like في إشي
صح، في
عم
تحليل.
بيعلق. And that's why I don't feel to answer it, not because it's not a good question. It confused me, but it means because it's you're confused, and that's fine. That's why we ask questions.
Yes.
But أنا بحس the shift we are talking about is exactly about addressing the root of that question, which is its very thinking. Versus when I'm about to experience more of my soul, I'm going to tune more into feeling, right?
Yes.
So when we're saying about the soul coming into the body, we're just saying receiving more of our feeling, because it's opening the soul. Many of the traditions, they say it lives in the heart. What's the role of the heart? The role of the heart is to feel. So it's almost like this spark of life comes, inhabits the heart, and the heart starts to open. Like imagine a rose opening. So instead of does this come first, does this come second, how does that? I don't know. I don't think many people know. Maybe some people who've been like meditating for 1,000 years. Yeah, and I'm sure you can get an answer to it. But for me, I'm less interested about those details, and I'm more interested about the impact, or what's the implication of saying, I want to call in my soul into my body? What's the implication of me saying, I have fragmented parts of my soul that left my body when I was young because I was traumatized because of certain events, let's say.
Wow.
And now I'm calling more back. What does it feel like to feel more of my feelings? I have a client, she's a director in Egypt, and a big part, she's very successful, she's a director, all of this, but one of the traumas that happened is all her emotions got shut off from a very early age, because that was her parenting and the education system and all of that. So now what we're remodeling in her consciousness is just saying, it's okay to be me. And that's what the soul comes to teach us. It's okay to be me. It's okay to feel what I'm feeling. It's okay to experience pain. It's okay to experience joy. It's okay to experience seduction. It's okay to experience all the things. So it gives you permission in the feeling. And that's where Ihab mentioned shame. He's very interested because in the Arabic consciousness, there's so much shame. Shame is the opposite of it's okay to be me. Shame is I'm feeling that, oh, I should close it, which brings you into space of contraction, which is the opposite of the soul, which is all about expansion, opening the heart. More of my soul can come in. Opening my heart, more of my soul can come in. And that's a process. Something happens in my life, I fight with Ihab, I close. Again, I need to open my heart again. So it becomes a very practical thing rather than something I want to think too deeply about the details. It becomes so much more receiving my soul, receiving my feelings, receiving my messages, receiving my purpose, receiving my direction, my compass, all the things that are within me. So again, the answer is within me, for you, for you. Every person watching here today has her own answers, or his or her answers. So the invitation is to call our soul back in, so that your mission can be activated, so you can create from that place. And your soul is abundant. Your soul is all about this expansion. And you know you're not in your soul when you contract. Even when you're confused, it's like, I don't know. Okay, let me just feel. And then maybe if we tune in, me and you, Mr. Halla, you might feel like, oh, I have my own answer to that. And probably you do. And that's why every person holds that sacred frequency in their heart, their own answers to everything. But together we're more whole. So spirit or source or God or what the divine wanted to experience everythingness. So it created all of us. So it can experience 9 billion different, plus the plants, plus the animal, everything has a soul. So it wanted to experience that spark through every being. And every being has their secret to the universe, to their own universe, or yoniverse, in the case of the feminine. And so this soul calling becomes so much about activating that essence in the heart and asking the right questions and slowly allowing that process to open. زي الوردة شوي شوي, because it has not felt safe to open. Your parents didn't tell you feel what you want. Your teacher didn't tell you think what you want. So the soul starts to tell you about the divine qualities that you can awaken to become the divine human that you are, which is the human with the soul, right? Not just human alone, which is what the Matrix wants us to think we are, just a body, just a mind, but divine. And what is divine? It's limitless, it's abundant, it's beautiful, it's freedom, complete freedom. People are like, I don't have the choice to do this decision, or you always have a choice. That's the nature of our divine humanity. The one thing that binds us all together is that we all have free will. complete free will. What we do with that becomes our karma for this life. We make a decision we know is bad for us. Even if my boss forced me, then I'm going to deal with that karma for the rest of my lifetimes. So he's not going to be the one paying the price that I pay to follow the thing that's not my truth. And the soul will always bring you back to your truth. You will always have جوا معدتك الإحساس إيش القرار اللي رح يساعد روحك to expand, to open for your heart, to feel more love. And eventually you said it بالأول, it's like going back to love. The more I can open my heart to love, that's when I'm completely with source. Because source is oneness. Heart is love, it's emotion. That's where we connect. When we go to the mind and the metaverse and disconnection and you're a virus and I'm a virus and who's a virus, well, that's programming again. And I don't know about you guys, but I say no to that. And that's where free will comes in. They can do whatever they want. They are free as well. But I can say no also to whatever I want. And if my soul says no, says boundary, says sovereignty, says free will, then I speak that, I embody that. And that takes courage. And your soul is courageous. All the divine qualities, that's your soul. Anytime you align with a divine quality, you're tuning into your soul verse. You're unplugging from the matrix because you say, no, it's from the inside. I have the answer. They're just testing you. Every person that you feel is trapping you is actually testing you and how much you're willing to move and listen to your soul. And that's why they become our teachers. It's not, no, my boss, no, my parents, no culture, no religion, no society. They're all testing us so we can trust ourselves. And when we trust ourselves, then we'll hear the call, what to create, what to be, what to serve. And eventually the soul verse is going to be a society of people serving one another. Everybody has a gift to serve, a quality to serve, a frequency to serve.
So you really believe in a society, Madiha?
I'm creating it. I don't just believe it, I'm living it. I'm living it every day with my community Awakened Women. I'm living it every day with me and Ihab co-creating HPE. I'm living it every day with our community Utopia, with our life in Bali and the soul friends we have. It's just activating the soul frequency on all levels. And we've been building our lives for many years to get to where we are, and we're still in the beginning. So we just have foundations. Okay, home reflects soul. Okay, career reflects soul. Okay, friendships that reflect soul. It's just the beginning. There's so much, like, to live utopia, to live heaven on earth. That's the soul verse. And not just for one person, for everybody here to live heaven on earth. And your heaven on earth looks and feels a certain way. And my heaven on earth looks and feels a certain way. That's why we have to tap into our feeling. That's what the soul moves, communicates, strategizes within us. So you know, when I listen to that kind of music, my soul feels the frequency of God. When I live in that kind of house, I feel nurtured. Again, what are the divine qualities we want to align our systems, our homes, our friendships, our communities, our education system, our health system, our food system, our road systems. Imagine instead of random like fear-based road signs, we just had like blessings for your day, or like Ralph Smart, he has those things everywhere. It's like, you're gonna have an amazing day today. Imagine you had those signs everywhere on the streets instead of like, beware danger. Danger brings fear. So society, the matrix, the frequency they work with the most to make us just stay in the lower frequencies is fear. And most of the people here are conscious, so they know that. But the more we become aware, even the road is like creating fear. Television, some online television things we watch, most of the shows are horror and fear. So everything we consume from the matrix is wiring us for fear, and fear brings us into fight or flight mode in our reptilian brain, which makes us just need to survive. I'm just going to have a job so I can pay my rent and take care of my family. I'm always in survival mode. The soul does not want you to just survive. It wants you to thrive. And that means I need to taken care of, and now I can really serve. Almost like I didn't need the money. I'm just serving because this feels really important right now.
Amazing. And Zain.
And then you get me talking, I won't stop. She got activated this chakra, and it just like, you need to stop me when we need to go in a direction. So
oh, I will never do that. لو في مثلا an advice or يعني exercise معين, experience معين you would advise someone to do علشان هو to take يعني a glimpse of this feeling علشان يحصل taste of feeling this, the joy of the soul, feeling this divine energy. شيء يسويه أو فكرة يفهمها أو exercise experience.
What I'm gonna say is it's gonna be like, oh, I knew that, but that's the truth. And it's one of the quotes by Joseph Campbell, which we've heard again and again. It's follow your bliss. What makes you feel joy? For me, songs. So next week in Amman, I have a sacred song circle because I remembered how much I love creating that space.
Nice.
Like 20, 30 people in a circle where we're just singing sacred songs. The frequency is so high. It's pure heaven on earth for me and for the people who come. So for you, it might be you love to learn, you love to share. For you, heaven on earth might be like Ihab. For Ihab, going on a stage and having 2,000 people in front of him, that's his pure God mode. So every person needs to follow their bliss. Where do you feel most alive? I also feel really alive when I work out, when I'm moving, when I'm dancing. So I do a lot of that. I feel alive when I'm laughing. So I've been calling in more laughter. I want to just keep laughing. Like when I was small, I used to laugh until I cry almost every day. Like people used to just love to come be around me because I'm laughing so much. Like it just بيرخرخ the whole things. So again, it's feelings. Like we want to feel more. That's our humanity. That's our bliss. Feel more joy, feel more connection when you go out and have a really good conversation with someone. What's the one thing that makes you feel so alive? Like right now, just go write that down. What makes me feel so alive? Maybe it's taking care of babies. Maybe it's creating art. Maybe it's whatever it is. That's your bliss. That's where you'll feel and receive your soul. When Ihab met me, I was actually in a sacred song circle. He came to one of my events like 4 or 5 years ago. And I was in my soul. So he saw my soul completely. I'm creating this event. I'm just singing and getting people to sing sacred songs. So he showed up and he was like, I see her soul because I was with my soul. And here's another thing. When you connect with your soul, you will attract, manifest, meet your soulmate. Because as long as you're not living your soul life, then how can you meet your soulmate? Because your soul is not being seen. It's not speaking. It's not expressing. So until you really live your purpose and your passion and your soul and your expression, you're not going to attract the person who can meet you at that frequency. So it's like so much hangs on that. It's not something we do for fun. I remember when I started, my mom was like, هدول الأشياء تعملهم for fun. بعدين في الحياة. And I was like, there's something wrong with that. I don't think the soul is something I do on the side. I think the soul is something, like, it's who I am. So for a moment, I doubted what they said. I was like, I'm going to try living the whole soul verse.
Yeah, it's not.
And I quit my job and voila, the soul verse. She has arrived. And every person deserves that. Even people from my old work, they message me and they're like, how do we make this move? How can I? And it's like, they see the frequency and they know they have that potentiality just to follow their bliss. Maybe they love fashion. Whatever you love, that's your bliss. It doesn't matter the thing outside. It does not matter. It's just that you feel that aliveness. What makes you feel alive, Sarah? What makes you feel like, oh, full expansion soul mode?
Okay, well, listening to songs. أحب الأصوات الجميلة. I love them. أحب الفوكاليتيز. أحب الميوزك. بعد I have هم sessions like coaching sessions.
Yeah, I feel you.
Yeah, this kind of things, being live, talking to people, expressing, channeling. ما أدري شنو يصير بس what comes in.
Beautiful.
And
the soul loves to be seen, by the way. Some people, they have a bit of shame on that, as if like, oh, why do I have that need to be seen, to be heard, as if it's a wound? But actually the soul loves to be seen and celebrated, and for beauty to shine and radiate, and for your message to be heard. So that's all part of your soul saying, you know what, I love to share. I love to show up with 200-300 people here. I love to be witnessed and to witness another. And all of this is your soul speaking. So that's,
you know, I think this is it, sharing, because even deep conversations is one of my,
yeah, me too,
the favorite one.
Yeah, that's how I became a coach, because I just love having deep conversations, and then something shifts. So That's a good career. I don't know about you, but I didn't think that was possible 5 years ago. Getting paid to have deep conversations with people that transform their lives. It's like, I think I'll go with that one rather than working 8 hours, sitting at a desk, like just being in my mind all day. It's like, pass. I'll take that one.
Super pass. Okay, that's beautiful. انزين هذا سؤال mind, to be honest, and of course you can just يعني if you don't want to answer it just tell me. بس do people have to like يعني إنه يستوعبون every trauma they have علشان يوصلون حق مرحلة إن they really can be themselves. يعني can I be myself? Can I know my reality? Can I know my truth? Can I follow my bliss if I had traumas?
Of course. I feel part of it is just acknowledging where we are. So acknowledging there's places where my heart closes. There's places where I can't connect with others. There's places. So self-awareness is the beginning. It's like, that's what it takes to start putting light to the dark. If I ignore those places, I'm going to stay where I am. So if you want to stay where you are, you can ignore the traumas. In the Sufi tradition, they talk about a lot of these things like rust. So the heart is like a mirror. And then these traumas become like rust on the heart. So all we're doing is wiping away, cleaning away the toxins, the things that happened that blocked our heart, that blocked our energy, that blocked our connection with one another. And our connection with one another is the interconnection, the oneness of all life. So that's really where we want to get to, but it's normal that we have layers that we need to clean or purify. And so that's why a big part of the awakening process is purification. And sometimes the beautiful thing is sometimes you don't have to talk about it the way you do as a psychologist, right? Sometimes you can do breath work or have a healing session or have body work or do a sound healing or do a form of energy work that can help you release the trauma without mentally going into it or having to relive it but just cleaning your energy field from all these blockages. And sometimes they're not just yours, sometimes they can be from your lineage. And that's why a lot of the work I do is clearing my lineage. Some stuff in my womb is not mine, it's from my grandmothers, my ancient grandmothers. A lot of our lineage of women, there was a lot of rape and violence. And so our wombs grieve, our wombs have a lot of things going on that are not ours. So when we clean also the lineage, and that's, I feel, our responsibility, because then we pass that on. So if I don't clean my womb and my body and my energy and my allness, then I will pass that on to my children, and I don't want to do that because I'm lucky enough that I'm awake, that I saw these things. Awake doesn't necessarily mean I cleared everything. It means I was in the dark and now I see, I'm awake. So imagine you're in a dark room and suddenly the light goes on. You're awake. You see, ooh, that. Now I can start to work on creating the room that I love. The room that makes me feel nourished and beautiful and cared for and safe and all these things. So awakening is the purification. Now, can I go without looking at the traumas? I can. And I would say the beginning of my spiritual journey was like that. But this is called spiritual bypassing. It's like, I'm going to deny I have so many blockages and issues, and I'm just going to pretend like everything is always light. Well, I know deep inside me that everything is not always light because I'm feeling. So when you have traumas, you have things that you're feeling, whether it's sadness or grief or anger. And eventually we clear it. That's when we can really be soul present. Because when we've cleared more and more, we have the capacity to show up to life, to our relationships, to our work with clarity. There's nothing in my field that's not mine. I've disconnected all those stories, all those blockages. And from that place, I can create something way more powerful than if I was creating, for example, from anger against the patriarchy. Remember, we were talking about that last time. That's a trauma. So if I'm still going deeply in that, I'm going to be creating Awakened Woman from a place of anger against the patriarchy. So it's going to be more against something than for the divinity of women. And I prefer to work for rather than against. And so that's been part of my process, releasing some of the anger with the patriarchy. And that's necessary to go into the soul verse, the universe of the soul, and unplugging from what they've created, which is a lot of like man versus woman, patriarchy, matriarchy, this, that. Well, in the soul verse, in the heart, in the belonging, we all belong to each other. We all welcome each other home. And that includes men, that includes women. My healing with Ihab over many years is very much the healing of the feminine and the masculine, like learning to be together more deeply and to accept and celebrate and heal and just weave that sacred union.
Amazing.
It's not easy. but it's fun.
For sure. It's not easy. But it's a much easier choice than just be stuck in the matrix and be suffering.
Necessary. Yes.
Necessary, that's right. Not easier choice, necessary choice. That's good. Okay. قبل لا أروح حق الأسئلة لأن يعني we came to the last 5 minutes of our life يعني time flew very fast. كان عندي إذا بلخص يعني if I want to sum up. So can I say yes, there is a matrix, maybe a negative one, trying to sell you the thought that you are not enough. Yeah, address it, be awake to it, and then choose your path and follow your bliss. So the action you do after awakening is not to fight, is not to be more scared, is not to try and fix the matrix itself, but it's by following your bliss and start to be the real you without the limitations that the matrix has sold you. صح?
And to create from that place. So it's like there's levels. So first I'm following my bliss. I'm really starting to listen inwards to my feeling. And then I start to create from that place. And when I create and when I serve, then I start to find my role, my purpose in life. Because our purpose is not to be isolated and just alone in our homes. Our purpose is to be serving each other. Because we each have medicine for each other.
Yeah.
And if you're hiding, then you're hiding your medicine from people who need it. People need your frequency. People need to feel what you feel, to know what you know. And everybody has something to offer, a role to play in the society. And so the creation part is really important to me. So the beginning is follow your bliss. And then we start to layer towards really activating a conscious community where people are really embodying their soul frequency and their roles and serving and supporting each other and creating. I think creation is the spark of the divine.
Wow, lovely. Okay, so that was amazing. راح ناخذ أسئلة. Do you want to, Madiha?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Can I add, today I launched my course. Yay! My second course, woman. And in this course, we go deeply into how to realign with abundance from a soulful place. What is abundance? How soul is connected to it, and how we've been told these stories about money and work that are not serving us. And I think a big part of what people seek, which is abundance and wealth and prosperity, they're just seeking it in the wrong path, almost like I get the job, I get the promotion, I'm still entrapped in that matrix. So how can I seek abundance and prosperity and wealth from a place of liberation from within and purpose and passion, and to ask the right questions and heal the stuff from our ancestors and our lineage and our parents and our education that's really not serving us, fully awakening our prosperity codes. So if anybody's interested in that and you want to take this a step further, you are more than welcome to register. Today was our launch and I'll be so happy to journey with you.
عجيب. So حق الأصدقائي اللي بس عربي.
It's in English. I will say that.
It's in English.
I've tried so many times to say English Arabic, but أنا eventually when I start expressing لسه عم بحس تعبيري أقوى بالإنجليزي, I'm still only offering it in English. Maybe in the future I'll put it with translations, but this round is in English.
Okay.
Yeah.
So هي عندها بس إنه كورس. اليوم كان إطلاقه متعلق في شعور الوفرة والماني صح والvibrations.
It's called Money Goddess.
أوه آلهة المال. Amazing. So هو كله عبارة عن أن أنت تحرر نفسك من الأفكار والبرمجات اللي أنت عندك إياها اللي باعوك إياها عن طريق الماتريكس، وأن أنت توصل حق شعور الوفرة الحقيقي اللي أنت فعلا مفطور عليه. So اللي يبي يسجل بس إن التنبيه المهم إنه ترى راح يكون الكورس بالإنجليزي، فإذا ما عندك أحد يترجم لك مني منك خلاص راح تفك.
بجيبك صارت ترجمي لي بالكورس.
حاضر عيوني. اوكي، في 4 اسئله باي ذا واي. انا راح اخذ اسئله فقط عن طريق اللي مكتوبين في مثل علامه استفهام صايره جنب مربع الكومنت، مربع التعليق، تضغطون عليه تكتبون سؤالكم راح اخذه. اوكي، في حاليا كم سؤال فخلنا ناخذ منهم. So صديقتنا Jenna says, I've been hearing that being introvert is a trauma. What do you think about it, Madiha?
I think anything you label introvert is trauma becomes limited. I think if you ask yourself, where is my introversion coming from? Again, it's asking the right question. Then you can explore if it's coming from a trauma. مثلا حدا بعيلتك حكى لك stop speaking, or you're too loud, or you're too this. Then you can explore it as a trauma. Some people, they're just naturally introverted. They're beautifully, like calm, reserved. And so there is both. There is people who are traumatized into introversion and people who are not. Also, even the label itself, nobody is purely introvert or purely extrovert. I used to think I'm extrovert, but compared to Ihab, I'm very introverted. So even those labels, if you tell yourself the story that you're introverted, you'll start to play it out. So challenge yourself even with that identity, that story. My sister, مثلا, she's very introverted with new people, but with her friends, she's loud and funny and all these things. So maybe with certain people, you open up. And maybe that's from trauma, maybe it's not. So just ask yourself questions that can help you understand, Inti, for your specific case, where is this, let's say, habit or behavior or tendency or energy coming from?
Nice.
Yeah.
I loved your answer. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Ooh, my little Bali. Hello to Mama Bali.
So she says, my question about trauma is sometimes when we go deep down to it, the lives start to be more dark. Maybe because of the resistance that happens. So, there is
and
no
also maybe the
question.
resistance is to the dark. A lot of us think light is good and dark is bad, and therefore we don't want to be in the dark.
Well,
but what if dark was an initiation? It's called the dark night of the soul. Most of us who have had awakenings have had periods of our life that were very difficult, including myself. And so I feel part of the heroine's journey, your quest, is to go through this dark, to allow the feelings, to allow, if grief is there, anger is there, whatever darkness is there, allow it without resistance. Don't judge the dark as something bad. But what's the good news is that, like any emotion, nothing is permanent. So even the darkness itself, whenever you can remind yourself, this is temporary. This is me looking at a part of my soul. This is me looking at a part of myself where my soul left my body. So I'm calling it back in, I'm healing. And to be really gentle with yourself through that process. To allow for the dark and remember it's not forever. It's just something I'm going through. My mom's best friend lost her son a few years ago. And I feel that's the saddest thing that could happen to anyone. And probably in that time, she felt the world is never going to look in any way delicious ever again, because that's the deepest trauma you can go through, to lose your son, your most beloved human. And yet now, many years later, it's opening again. Of course, that will always be something in her heart, something she carries. But with time, the thing that seemed like the most horrible thing that can happen to a person starts to heal. And at the time, I'm sure she didn't think that. I'm sure at the time she thought, I don't want to live anymore. And that's what happens to us when we go through the dark night of the soul. We start to think, I don't want to live anymore. Why am I here? And that's really a call, a wake up. I need to call my soul back. I need to heal. I need to bring the life force, the vitality back. So rather than seeing it as a tunnel where things are looking dark, think of it as a tunnel where you're going through the dark and then the tunnel ends. And when it needs to end, you will know. And you will move out of the tunnel with grace and with self-acceptance that even the tunnel was necessary.
Amazing. Well, thank you for the preference to your mother's friend. لأن أنا today أنا اليوم رحت عزيت واحدة who lost her son. It was a very heartbreaking يعني scene to see يعني. وفعلا هي big trauma. But when you said إن this could be her, and you never know.
And grief is part of the human existence. We live now safer than we've ever lived before. So we're less in touch with those human emotions of grief. If it happens, it's like a shock to our system. For many thousands of humans lived, there was a lot of war, there was a lot of death, there was a lot of things.
Wow.
So people were more used to grief and sadness and community. And in Africa, مثلا, when a woman is grieving the loss of somebody in her family, they give her a full year to wail, to cry. They take all her responsibilities. They cook, they take care of the children. They like cover all their responsibilities so she can go through her dark tunnel and grieve. And I feel our society has stripped us a bit of that permission to grieve, to be in that grief when it's necessary, because that's part of being human. Being spiritual doesn't mean denying those places. It means the opposite, taking more of ourselves in. And taking more of ourselves in means making space for the things that hurt as well, even if it's not easy. That's the initiation, that's the quest, that's the heroine being born inside you.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. So another question says, what is the first thing I do? I think she means, okay, after now I know everything. What's the first thing should I do?
Breathe. Slow down. Just breathe. Take more time to slow down and breathe and be in nature and to accept where you are right now. Start there. Let's do that together. Let's take a deep breath together. There's 115 now of us breathing together. That's something. In many languages, the breath, the same word for the breath is spirit. So like breathing spirit, breathing soul in. With the intention that I take it fully in. Just slowing down the mind, slowing down the sound, slowing down the distractions. Landing. Okay, here we are. We're good. We're good.
Amazing. Okay, let's see that one question. Let's take.
I like your face, Sarah. You have a cutie, soulful face.
Thank you. Okay.
It's like, what do I say to that?
Thank you, Madiha. So the question says, I'm a teacher. My energy is very low. Students not listening. I don't know what to do. That's a very lost and inside her head.
Maybe you want to answer it, Sarah? What do you feel?
Well, I think there is a trauma that is talking. That's not her. يعني أحس إن students are not listening is a very wounded sentence. It feels
because
like she's feeling rejected, right?
That's deep. I like that. And also, it's always a mirror. The students are not listening is you not listening to yourself. What's your inner voice telling you that you're not listening to? And the children are just a mirror of, there's so much happening inside you. There's a lot of turbulence. There's a lot of different voices and opinions and directions. So when you center, when you're more calm, your energy will attract and, let's say, clear the space that they'll be reflecting that back. So maybe they're just a reflection of yourself not listening to yourself. So
use that. Use this, and use this reflection to know what's inside, what's happening inside.
Yeah, to listen. You can start listening to you, and then others will listen to you.
Yeah. Okay, this is the last one, or if you want to keep going.
I think like if people can ask more like broad questions related to what we were talking rather than personal, like,
okay,
you know.
I'm trying to find something like more.
So one last question. Something related to the topic we talked about today. I'm trying to think beyond the me and this, like sometimes we take the thing and we want to just apply it right now to what's happening in my life. But can we relax, expand? Like how can I see life in a way that really serves my evolution? Because when you expand your question, your whole life will expand. But maybe the questions can just like, yeah.
Okay. Cute prayers say, what are the features of soul voice?
I like that question, but I don't know what it means.
Me too. I thought you might know.
Soul voice. Maybe certain voices touch your heart. And when you hear that soul voice, when you hear the soul singing through someone, then that remembrance is reminding you of your own soul. So maybe soul voice is when you hear the sound of the soul in your reality, whether through a song or a book or a person, then that's like following your bliss, because that sound is reminding you of your soul. So we started this conversation with how you were saying, Sarah, about there's so much sound and you're going back to silence. And so beyond that, once we go into silence, we can start to listen to the soul song. So we can end it on that note where we've come a full circle. We've removed the distractions of the matrix. We've seen their games. And now we can bring it back to what's happening inside me when my heart starts to feel more and open more. And where do I hear the soul song? Where is it calling me? Where is it calling me? Where is it? My curiosity is blossoming something, a new reality, a new possibility, a new career, a new partnership, whatever it is. Something new is being born. And that's what the soul verse is. It's us shifting from this reality that we've co-created to something way more soul aligned. And we're each playing our role in that big puzzle. So today, if you learned anything from this, just remember you have an important role to play in that puzzle. And maybe that will be my final words for today.
Yeah. So this was amazing, Madiha. I had so much fun. It was very deep, deeper than I thought.
Well, we go deep, yeah.
I know.
Good chemistry.
It's a pleasure, yep. So
because you listen, because when we're talking this conversation, like I really feel you're listening deeply. And so the question that follows becomes even more deeper. So you're able to lead the conversation as an interviewer where we're able to tune in deeper and deeper. And that's a really precious skill. Not many people that have interviewed me have been able to go deeper in themselves, which allows me to go deeper in my share as well. So thank you for leading that and opening the space for this conversation with that really deep intention.
Thank you for that, Madiha. Okay, so we're done for today. إن شاء الله نشوفكم بالجايات. اللايف راح ينحفظ عندي في الانستغرام and maybe on YouTube. Madiha, will you?
Yes. If I put, I don't know if I'm going to do the translation because you did a lot of the translating. Because if I do the translation, I'm going to have to wait a few weeks. So let's talk about that after. But
Okay.
it will definitely be on YouTube. If not soon, then in a few weeks if I do the translation. So stay tuned.
Thank you. See you inshallah soon.
Bye bye everyone. Thank you for being here.